our ground command from the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Kim.
We're still here. Yay.
We made it.
That's how I feel today.
I know, but I think we've got some good news to share, right? We were talking about CARE and CARE showing, everything it's capable of. That's exciting.
I know. We've got actually quite a bit to share.
Okay.
I've been having a lot of fun with my plan. And, of course, I can't give all the details of the plan because that would be wrong. Nobody does that. I can't, and they watch this news. Our enemy watches it just as much as everybody else does. So let's touch on a couple of quick things because this is relative to kind of what we're seeing happening in the world. So the meeting in Singapore, you mentioned in the news.
Yes.
The meeting in Singapore was actually originally arranged by the plane people who didn't show up.
Okay.
It's something they do often. You could call this a rah-rah session. You go, it's like a big corporate meeting. They're all one, together. I mean, despite what the news says about tensions with China, tensions with the US, all of this, it's all baloney. All the intelligence agencies and all the militaries of the world have always been one unit, reporting to the same people. It's just which part are they going to play? Like, are we the good guy this time? Are we the bad guy this time? What are we actually doing? And then they don't tell that to the operatives, and then they end up in these precarious situations like, they'll send someone from the US to go to the Banana Republic, and then they'll send someone from the UK also to go to the Banana Republic to kill the person from the US. I mean, it's crazy, but it's all in the name of how to start a war and get people to believe it kind of thing. It's a game they play. But this meeting was a little bit different. So the people of the plane didn't actually show up this time. The agenda was a little bit strange. So in comes people that would have reported to the plane people, like your Jason Society people, other various groups like it in other countries, other than the US. And they tried to do the rah-rah session. They tried to sell them Songs of Sunshine on Sunday and over the weekend. And quite frankly, no one really bought it. They have, they know what we're doing. It's obvious. We have the key intelligence and military system that basically gives everybody full transparency, on most, not all, of the operations that we run.
Right.
I selectively run the ones that I want people to see on there, and then other ones I don't. So, or I hide them. It'll say op in progress and it'll just be black. So that was kind of the beginning of the end for what kind of ultimatums were given. I also wanted to point out a couple of things as well that you had put in the news about universal income.
Yeah.
And also the digital ID program. Now, they do go together, and it's related to the program you might have heard about called Nasara Jasara, those kind of things. Now, this is kind of relative to the original thought process of communism. I'm not going to say what it is today. It's the same as what it is today because it's a little bit social communist-esque democracy, like tyranny. It's not true communism in what they tried to implement in the very beginning 100 years ago, where everybody on Earth works for the government. This is where they're going, the one world government. That was the plan. So testing this out to see if people would still work, to see what they would do, it's another human experiment. Communism itself is a human experiment. It's no different there. Now, I can see why they would have picked the UK because the British arm of the New World Order, known as your Rothschilds, ETAL, because you use that name loosely, but it represents the Blue Dragon essentially, and the Golden Dragon in China are very, very good friends. And they are absolutely wanting to implement this digital ID, they'll rate you as to the class of your citizen. Are you working? Are you producing? Do you drink too much? Do you do this too much? Do you do that too much? Do you do not enough exercise? Are you healthy? And it's a whole program that they have developed in order to determine whether or not you still continue to get your universal income.
Right.
So with this program, if it were successful, which it won't be, so relax. But with the program, it's intended to, say you were working, you had a job, your universal income comes obviously from governance at this point, New World Order or otherwise. And then what they would do is they would cut you off. Say I've said this once before, like say you went and bought a gallon of vodka a day, but you were using it to make hand sanitizer. Your card won't pick that up. Your digital ID won't pick that up. And they'll say she's an alcoholic. She's drinking a gallon of vodka a day, or he's an alcoholic or whatever. And then they'll cut you off. And then you're kind of like ousted, like that movie in Divergent. You become the divergent ones that live on the outskirts of society because you can't drive a car. They want to shut your car off. We reported that in the news at will. If they detect alcohol. Now, it's proven that that doesn't even work because if you use mouthwash, standard mouthwash, it'll go off and you won't be able to drive your car because your teeth are clean. It's ridiculous. I mean, they really don't know how to do it anyway, even if we did nothing.
Right.
So something kind of had to be done. They're still going on this agenda and all of that. Come Monday afternoon, end of business, Washington, D.C. was in a full-on panic, absolutely in a panic. And when Washington, D.C. panics because the money didn't come, I know you're all shocked to hear that, the money didn't come, and then it kind of steamrolled from there over the course Monday night into Tuesday because the pallets of cash that had been distributed by the deep state to all over the Middle East, to Ukraine, to all these different countries, was not good. It was not cashable. So everybody began screaming at one another. Now, Israel could be considered dragon land. It's a combination of the British sector of the Blue Dragon and a combination of the Chinese sector. They're pretty much your lead players now at this moment in time. I mean, you really don't have a lot of the other colors. The other colors, I mean, you do have the Red Dragon participating and, here and there. But I would say for the most part, those are the ones that are really pushing, for the agenda alongside, of course, with the Americans. Right. And everybody's got a different way to get it, quote unquote, done. Unfortunately, no one knows exactly what it is. So something had to be done between the promises of gold from Chinese old people and the promises, by Israel to all of the Middle East to start a war. I mean, they had moved 5,000 troops to the border of Jordan. They did a lot of stuff to prepare for this thing they thought that was going to happen on Monday. Mm-hmm. And it did not. And so the lies coming from the Chinese, the British, the Americans, and everybody else in between about what's really going on had to end. I mean, I got kind of tired of, how do I say this? The tapestry of not true words. I'm going to use that. Not true words coming from various parties grasping, trying anything they can to maintain control. Mm-hmm. And it's control over the agencies, it's control over the militaries they're trying to maintain, that which means that you would then control politics, and so on and so forth. So I developed this plan last week because I knew this was going to happen, but I was just waiting for the right time to push the button. So on Monday evening, by close of business, around 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I decided to deposit $23 trillion at the Treasury Department. Now, along with that is around 1.1, just shy of billion dollars worth of gold. And it's in kind of its own bubble. So it's got my firewall around it. You can see it, but you need a PIN code to access it. And you also need to formulate some agreements. There were some stipulations there as well. Now, along with that, I also put another account called a liaison account. And the liaisons will be named at some point, but right now the liaison account is there and it's 10% of the amount that is there. Now, why did I do that? Because we know that these operatives that have been running around trying to make these pallets of cash work, trying to make these other agendas work, and they're, not getting paid. They're being told they're going to get paid, and nobody ends up getting paid. And that's including the CIAs, those people. And those are the people that make politics run. It's just the way it is. I didn't create it that way. I don't think it necessarily should be that way, but it is that way. So you have to be able to navigate your way through a bunch of angry people that have not gotten what they've been promised, and so therefore there's a liaison account. The next one that I created was a 2% administration fee, which is the fee that I've always had on everything I've ever done, which is for our administration. $23 trillion is a lot of money, which means there'll be a lot of contracts, a lot of agreements, and a lot of things that will have to take place in order to spend that money, which means I am going to have to shuffle a lot of papers and a lot of spreadsheets around. And when it comes to that point, I need an office. I need some people. I need some staff. I need some analysts. I need to be able to put these people to work and pay them because it's only right that I do that. Now, the account is not in the name of the United States government. The account is in the name of CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. In order to use said account, stipulation number 1, you must become a member of CARE. Your country must become a member of CARE. Now, the United Nations has admitted, the Security Council has admitted that they do not have a charter, they do not have a status, and they do not have a registration. They've admitted it. Okay? CARE has a registration, and that number was provided to a lot of different people. So CARE is registered as a sovereign entity unto itself, just like the United Nations. Now, when the United Nations went down, where does that leave government registrations, since they all were underneath the United Nations?
Oh, wow.
The answer to the question is nowhere. Nowhere. Nobody exists anymore. There's no constitution, there's no charter, there's no nothing right now. There's nothing registered in the Hall of Records. So why do budgets and whatnot keep getting declined? Well, they keep getting declined because there is no registration. I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Right.
So you must become a member of CARES in order to receive your sovereign status back as a country. Fair? They did it to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got bad management right now. You need other management. So the account launched on Monday evening. Now where are we at? Okay, so it's locked. It's waiting for someone to reach out. The liaisons. I've actually talked to a couple of people about becoming liaisons, and these are groups. Now, the groups that I reached out to were groups that have not gotten paid. They definitely report to people like the Jason Society and those others that are trying to maintain control over militaries, agencies, and the never retired people. So I reached out to a group that kind of was like, has been on the fence. They're getting a little irritated. They're getting frustrated. So I offered them a liaison position. Now, they're very capable, this group. Some of them are public names. You would have seen them as retired, either from militaries or whatnot. So far, I've seen what they've been doing, and I gave them all the information and the account number and everything, so they have all that. And when they went to verify it, I saw exactly who jumped in and tried immediately to steal it. So the response back to the group that I'm referring to was, "Don't worry, we can handle this. We'll steal it all." Huh. Okay. Now, there's more to this story. So they immediately started to try to hack. Now, I'm going to give you all the locations where they were. Yesterday, in brief, there was a lot of hacking going on. Now, Toltec Mounds in Arkansas, the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, been there before. Why do we keep going to the same places over and over again? Because it didn't work the first time. Isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? Yeah. But they maybe don't know that. Maybe that was the people in the plane that only knew that. I don't know. So we'll go again. So we went again. Next, DOD had a program called the JADC, which is Joint Domain Control, all domain control. And it has to do with the DNS servers. In the security, and I use that term loosely, for those types of servers. Next, they were in the Okolo Miles in Gabon. This is a place that allegedly has a natural nuclear fusion process that takes place in this area. You should look it up. It's spelled OKLO. It's interesting. Learn our world. They were trying to connect a portal that hasn't been there forever to NORAD and the SLAB, which is called the Space Rendezvous Laboratory at Stanford. We've been there several times, but we go again because they want to go again, so we go again. The NSA Elite Hacking Unit actually was in Massacre Ranch, Nevada. Did you know there's such a place called Massacre Ranch?
It sounds horrible.
Well, not as bad as and as funny looking as the insane asylum in Kalamazoo.
Oh.
It's got this giant, it's a really weird building. There's like this little low building around and then the courtyard kind of in the middle. It's got this giant tower that just points straight up. So you automatically know something is weird there. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
There's also an area called Brown. Now, Brown is a name, Brown with an E at the end, sediment in Australia. We were also there looking for some kind of a portal that they could hack into. And this one is a weird one. It's called La Stele de la Liberté in Gabon, Africa. And this thing has these two pillars on either side that are probably 30 feet tall, it looks like. And right in the middle is a half woman, half demon creature that shows it's got like handcuffs on. And so if you didn't think anything about it and the fact that there's only one side of her that has female features, you would be looking at that going, it's about slavery, being only a half person. Let's ponder this artwork for a minute. But no, it actually means that there's a non-human portal there, or was.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta let them know that we know. But some of these things are interesting about our world that you probably don't know. You if you're born, when we were born, you remember starving children in Ethiopia, but that's not what Ethiopia is really all about. Okay, next, a company called 1Q, and it's actually the number 1 and the letter Q, BIT, spelled B-I-T, in Vancouver, British Columbia. Then we went back for the 108th time to the SHIELD facility underground Wichita, Kansas. We also have been again and went again to the MIT Space Lab in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And then, of course, the Octagon in Switzerland. Oh, that's probably, if I had a quarter for every time I went to the Octagon in Switzerland, we could make UNN for sure. And then some. All right. Along with that, a few other places. One place I want to mention all by itself is a place called Avalon Island in the United Kingdom. It's a very interesting place with a lot of interesting stories and mythology that goes along with it. Allegedly, there was Jesus's great uncle buried some of his blood along with the Holy Grail on the island.
Buried some of
Allegedly.
Jesus's blood. You're
Yes.
saying. So the great
Yes.
uncle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Allegedly on the island. There is a site for that there. There's supposed to be a fountain that runs red and has for hundreds of years due to this happening.
Mhm.
There is a number of portals. Of course, there's a large tower there too. They love large towers, and I don't know, maybe it's a man thing. So they, but it's a very interesting place if you ever have a chance to visit. You know, I had not been there myself personally, other than on satellite yesterday. But it's got quite a bit of character, quite a bit of charm, and an interesting history. So worth a look into. SIGINT, which was the Israeli system, they were trying to use that in Germany. That was the Thule Society. We had been again to the Joint European Tourists in UK. It's called JET for short. We were at the Notre Dame Cathedral in Algeria. We had a run-in with Mayer Brown Law Firm. It's one of the world's largest law firms. It's a global law firm. Mayer Brown is a Rothschildian organization / Black Sun. Gold Hill in Shaftesbury, UK, and Camelot Castle in the UK. So that left me singing here and, you know, I mean, all day.
Right.
All day. I'm like, I couldn't get it out of my head. But, you know, it was fun. You know, I have to admit it was fun. They were aware of a lot of locations. Today kind of got a little bit more boring. Honeywell, Lockheed, you know, a few other locations in the world. You know, nothing really to see here. So I got tired after yesterday of chasing them around. So I haven't been doing that today. Predominantly my work today actually has been, although we sealed off all of those dark portals, there might have been a mistaken signal from a few of them. So I've been running around tidying those up around the world. I have not really paid any attention to them because I figure, well, look, what they're predominantly doing is trying to use AIs they don't fully understand, and they don't really understand where they came from. Hence Monday's news. You know, we had to let everybody know what they're doing. Now, they don't care if they have to call Satan, Jesus, or anyone else for that matter with their semi-sophisticated equipment, as long as they can get that $23 trillion. They're salivating.
Right.
Salivating.
Mm-hmm.
It has brought out a lot of things. Some of those sites had a few little remnants. It wouldn't have worked anyway, but it's worth a cleanup. It doesn't need to be here. We don't need it in any way. And we don't need to give them hope. See, hope can be disastrous. So that's why I just went through, made sure everything was completely removed, no signals, no nothing, you know, not like it was never there, like it never existed. And then I was just watching them, you know, different locations. They're definitely got a man on the inside at the Treasury Department who has run around saying, we're going to do FedCoin. We're doing the thing. We're taking over the Fed, you know, because Treasury's typically Black Sun run. Yeah, we're doing it, and I'm the man, and I'm the this, or whatever. His name's Paul. I'll leave it at that. Won't give a last name. Name's Paul. And so, you know, it's access denied, access denied, access denied. Please enter your PIN code, blah, 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 you know, over and over and over again, whether it's from a distant location or actually at the Treasury. So I thought Paul and I needed to have a little chat. You know, I thought, you know, hey, you know, why not? So so what was our chat like? I decided that I would play Now You See It, Now You Don't.
With the money.
The whole account. Sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
1 minute it's there, then it's not.
It's peekaboo.
It's black. It's not there. It's there. Oh my God, here it is. Because now I'm going to have a little fun with you. Because I'm just tired of, they're wasting everyone's time, really.
Yes.
And including mine. And I don't need to waste my time on people that are clearly bad management, not competent. They do not have the capability to run militaries and agencies worldwide. It's very clear.
Mm.
So then I decided to have some more fun. So I sent the message the last time. I said, well, not the last time, but I said, now you see it, now you don't. And then I put the account back. And then I shut it off again and said, peekaboo.
Did you actually say peekaboo?
Yes, I did. And then I turned it back on again. And then they kept trying to hack still. And they were like, what is going on? They were thinking, see, you have to stop them from thinking. They have weird thoughts. Then they started thinking, oh my God, it's happening. We're finally going to steal it. So I had to communicate.
Yeah.
And so then I typed, yes, I am effing with you and your deep state handlers. So it's going off and on and off and on and off and on all day. So I wanted them to know, they had to know it was me.
Yes.
No mistake. There's no hope here. And then I had a little conversation and I addressed Mr. Paul directly, actually. I said, I'm going to address this one special for just for you, for all of the stuff you were saying to all your colleagues yesterday. And then I told them, you better call your deep state handlers and tell them to watch their six. Specifically like that. That's a military thing, in case you don't know. Watch your back. Watch your six.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now, as of the time of this recording, they've been listening to It's Tricky. Do you remember that song?
It's tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I met this little girly. Yep, that's me.
Her hair was kind of curly.
Curly, yeah.
Yeah, I know it.
Here we go. So anyway, I was just trying to think of something, kind of catchy and annoying nonetheless.
Yes.
Probably the first few times it played, they were like, oh, I remember this, and now they're probably like, oh, come on now. They'll figure out a way to shut it off, I'm sure, or maybe I will, who knows, but they've been listening to that for a while. So now, ultimatum. When this money showed up and the liaison saw $2.3 trillion in the account, that's just for them.
Right.
Everybody started calling. Everybody started panicking. And they did tell, per the advice of Miss Yellen and some members of Congress, they were told not to tell who the money is from.
Here we go.
That the money is there, but not to say who it's from. Of course, they all have the same deep state handlers, and I'm sure I know where that came from. And they need to watch their six. Now, so then I moved $10 out of the main account, the $23 trillion account, and then $1 out of each one of the other accounts. Now, why did I do that? Because the rumors were going around from these people that, oh, it's just, it's not real. It's not real. You can't spend it. It's like us, just wait. And then they started their lies again, the wait game. And so I thought, no, nobody has to wait. Look, I can spend it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can give it to you right now. So once let's call them potential liaison groups saw that happen, now the ultimatum came because they were already thinking it on Sunday. And now several of them all got together and told them that if they didn't get, they were the money, so to speak, by technically it was last night, end of business, but they weren't going to call it until today at noon Eastern.
So is that, Kim, the money that they have been owed if they don't get that money that they're owed?
Yeah, they all lost face. These are the guys that are on the front lines. This is the guys that they put out there to call the country of Israel and send pallets, to call the country of Iraq to send pallets. They do the negotiations. That's who these people are. You think those people behind the scenes that are running around trying to go to portals and maybe get some demons or something to come or something? God, this has been going on since 2:00 this morning. They're never going to show face.
Right.
The British, all those places in UK that we went yesterday, that all had to do with the Blue Dragon trying to save face. MI6 is the one running around doing a lot of this stuff. I know that. And they're all communicating to the same place. So in the past, command and control has been in Cheyenne for the entire United States, and if not most of the world, honestly. And there was a reason for that. It had to do with the Pandora's box that was located underneath there, and a connection and a lower portal access and a bunch of other stuff. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. And those are the guys that I call the donkeys down the street. And they're back down the street. They came in yesterday afternoon. They want to talk to local people who they feel are smart that might be able to assist them. That didn't really go very well in any way. Now, the other group I'm referring to don't really have a lot of respect left for those people due to their inability to run operations. And quite frankly, a blonde lady is running circles around them. And it's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. They're following orders. They were following orders, following instructions. And it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
So later on this afternoon, there is a meeting of those people who have decided to stop taking orders from them.
How big is that group, Kim, of people?
I would say but pretty large in the U.S. I mean, decently sized. They have a very large network that reports directly to them. Okay. Now, globally, they would have an alliance with the majority of militaries worldwide and the majority of agencies worldwide.
Okay.
Because that's how it's always worked. Now, these were the underlings, at one point in time, they figure, between myself, the key intelligence and military system, the money, they're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Now there is a lot of oaths that are taken when you go to work for an agency and you go to work for, you become a general or a colonel, higher end, so to speak. And it's not necessarily to the government.
Or the people.
It's actually to whichever society you report to. And that is where your allegiance needs to lie. And it's kind of one of those skull and bony kind of Freemason-esque things at the 33rd degree, those kind of things. So for them to break that oath, that's pretty huge. But then again, the people they needed to fear in the past are not there anymore. So,
right.
Allegedly this ultimatum was made. Now, we won't know until this, meeting happens this afternoon Eastern Standard Time, so it can accommodate all the time zones, as to whether or not they're going to actually walk. So we'll see. $2.3 trillion is a lot of damn money to make as a liaison.
Absolutely.
I'm not sending you out to war. I'm not sending you to get shot at. I'm not telling you to load planes with fake cash, Trump bucks. Oh, speaking of Trump bucks. Okay, so when the pallets of cash were not good, they did offer to some countries, especially Middle Eastern countries, Trump bucks they could trade out their US dollars for Trump bucks. That was one. That didn't go over very well. No one wanted Trump bucks. I'm surprised and shocked. Maybe it was the Christmas ornaments. They should have went with the Christmas ornaments. I'm sure of it.
They picked the wrong.
I know. Now, when that didn't work out, now they try to exchange their money out for the U.S. digital dollar. It's called the USTC, which hasn't yet launched yet either, to save face.
Right.
You know, these are countries. This is not, you know, with armies and militaries and agency people and their own assassins and all of that. You know, they were scared.
Yeah.
You know, and I show up with the savior. $23 trillion. That could have saved them. But no, they will not touch it. So then by yesterday afternoon, it's not about the money anymore for them. Now I'm listening to them too. You know, I mean, obviously I know where they are. That's why I said, watch your six. You know, be careful what you do. Be careful who you send here. Be careful what you do. You know, and they said they made a comment about, do not let her win. Do not let her win.
Seriously?
Yep. It's all about me now.
It's like a toddler throwing a tantrum.
No, it is. Well, it is. But remember what I told you on Monday's news? A woman fights with her heart, not her ego.
Yeah.
It's not about wrath. So when you fight with the darkness and there is no more darkness,
right,
you're fighting alone.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're fighting me and my army.
Yeah.
So I figure we're okay. Now, the other thing, while they were busy trying to hack the $23 trillion, I went ahead and I started making transfers in rapid succession to Wells Fargo Bank.
Okay.
So that's how I found the Thule Society and a few other things, those little things left in the system, nothing major, because I think it's a great time to do that when they are panicking, you know, everywhere. It's a really good time to get them to pull out. It's like turning the light on all the cockroaches, you know. So it's a really good time to pull out anything they might have had remaining in the system, because once they hit tilt yesterday afternoon, now tilt is a poker term. You've heard it before, you know, where they just freak out and then they take everything they've got to try to win their money back, you know, and in this case, it's their power back. So it's a really good time to get them to turn on everything they've got. So by about the sixth or seventh time, there was nothing really left. You know, they had some files in there, some Trojans, a few things that needed to go. And so the last thing they had to do in order to stop our withdrawal is they actually pulled the plug on the web server.
What would that do?
It actually does not allow for the data transfer to the website.
Okay.
So it's your server to the website. So then all the traffic would reroute, because they have many web servers. You know, it's not just one. And if one goes out, then the other ones pick up the traffic going in and out.
I see.
And so where I had been sitting, they actually pulled the plug. Yep. And that's okay. You know, they're waiting for further instructions on what they should do. The money, you know, is not there anymore. I pulled it back, but I can send it again. But now at least I know the game. So what I just need to do is I need to create multiple ports on multiple different servers. They can't turn them all off. And so, you know, it's very easy. You know, once you know the game, then you can go back in the next time and play a different game. You know, I do. See, I am not the kind of person that goes to the same place over and over and over again, trying to bang a computer system into a hole in the ground and see if I can make it happen. That's not me.
Right.
We're tricky, Sunny. Tricky. That's right. We are. So lots of progress in since we last spoke. On all fronts. Now, these funds like this, different countries will have different amounts based on their current GDP. And it's done like that because the production contracts have to be transferred over from dollars to their respective currencies, and the dollar needs to be supported in a different way, and all of that needs to take place. That's why that amount is so large. Mm-hmm. So it's, there's government funding in there too if they decide to join CARE. We're open, our doors are open. So, I've proven the registration. They've pulled it a number of different times, the registration numbers right there, and they can confirm it. You know what? I should probably see if I have it right here. Yes, I do. Okay. For those, this wouldn't be for our average everyday viewer. This would be for our intelligence community that loves to watch us. The CARE registration number is 2023-411-59442. So it's not accessible on a website. It's in the archives, but these people know how to access all of that, and they can see that we are a sovereign entity with a registration that is equal to or greater than the United Nations. Mm-hmm. The same goes, obviously we have the Health and Wellness Consortium and the education and a few other departments already up and running. So CARE will be known by every government in the world by the weekend.
Wow.
There's a memo that goes out, who we are, what we do, here's our registration, all of that. And CARE is open for business. We're open for funding. We're open to have liaisons. We're open to get this party started worldwide.
Wow. So, So do you expect to get people connecting with you after that happens, or do you expect them to still be listening to someone else and ignore it?
Well, like I said, the ultimatum is a big deal. Will they stick to it? Will there be a squirrel? I call it squirrel because that's like my golden retriever. She'll be running for the ball and all of a sudden she'll see a squirrel and she goes and makes a hard left, squirrel, oh, we're not playing ball anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether or not they're going to continue to play ball in a linear fashion, or they're going to make a hard left again, or wait, or give them time, or figure out something, I have no idea. But at this moment in time, it's actually looking fairly decently. War is tricky, Sunny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like to do that. It makes me happy. I got to do this all day. I might as well do something a little fun once in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so the reason for doing it all over the world is obviously we're getting that part started. Governments are having an opportunity to join CARE. They do not have to pay for membership, unlike the United Nations. The United Nations makes you pay. We have replacements for IMF. We have replacements for all of that as well. Countries are being told that if they touch the global repository, that they will be sanctioned. So in the light of this, they have to be told that they do not have a status anymore. You have to send them their information, is now defunct. You have to let them know what's going on, that umbrella, of scariness and fear doesn't exist.
Right.
No matter how much they're trying to make it exist, it doesn't exist. Chinese gold of that epic proportions that they're trying to sell the world does not exist. Those pallets of cash might as well be toilet paper, might be a little chafing. So no, maybe wallpaper. You use it for wallpaper. They don't exist. And the world just most of the people just really want to move on. Mm-hmm. Government wants to move on. I did tell them I need a budget. I need a spreadsheet. I need numbers that make sense to me. I'm not paying bills that are, you can't read.
What would happen, Kim? What if they tried to say that they were going to do something and kind of reneged on what they said they were going to do? So let's say, we're going to use this money for XYZ, and they start using it for nefarious purposes.
I will pull the money back. End of story. Okay. Close the door. Thank you for coming. See you later.
Okay. So that's
it.
Yeah.
No, there's none of that. Just like the $500 billion that I sent to Trump right after the election, because I'm like, no, fix it. And I gave him all the information about the hacking. I gave him everything. And what did he do? He went and gave contracts to generals, and I mean, these are your unseen generals, at the time, and whatever, to blow up the planet. So I pulled every dime back, even from all of the accounts they spent it to. So everybody lost it. Everybody lost every dime. I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah.
I will bail you out. I'd be happy to bail you out. If this, group comes online, they'd be happy to do a lot of things to you at this point. It's time. Either we're going to make government work, and this offer is not out there forever. It will be irrelevant soon. So don't sit there and ponder and contemplate the meaning of life. The government is going broke. The government will probably be able to scrape it together till Friday. I don't know. They can't leverage this money, even though they've tried at least 100 times this morning. They can't send it to the Fed. They can't. There's really not a whole lot they can do. They can try to access it. They can try to figure out what the access code is, and I'll help them out a little bit here. There isn't one. There is no access code at this moment. So you can run all your machine. You know how they do that? They run those machines that try to figure out yeah. So it is access code protected, but the access code has not been issued yet. See, I'm not an idiot like you. Not you, Sonny.
Because I was thinking that. I was like, what if they did guess the code? But
I'm smarter than that. That's why I'm ground command. Come now. Come now. What, you didn't think I would think that they would do that? Come now. It's tricky.
It's tricky. Yes, it is.
So I will not find out, unfortunately, until later on this evening, possibly tomorrow morning, as to the end result of the global meeting and how many parties decide to walk and who doesn't decide to walk. We'll see.
Is there a timeline for when that gets cut off, your generous offer of working with these people? Have you come up with a date?
Yeah, they need to make a decision by the end of the month. I cannot let the world go bankrupt. If things get worse sooner, which I anticipate by the 15th, you can stick a fork in the global economy. You're not going to see it, but governments worldwide will see it. They can't hang on that long, is in my opinion. So
what from today, the 14th of June? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So realistically speaking, I would like to get the party started before that. I would like to actually start yesterday. That would be great. But if we don't get started, for a week or something like that, it's going to take a force of people to convince these members of the Senate Finance Committee that the Chinese do not walk on water and part it.
Right.
Because they've been convinced by the order that they do. Democrats are blue dragons. The Republicans are red, but they are red in the sense of red line, which has more to do with the order of the Black Sun. Cheney's Republican, all your fun characters that we all know and appreciate the fact that they're now dead and gone.
What I think is going to be interesting, Kim, is the first group of people that come on board and actually receive some funds, because news like that would spread quickly, I would think.
Yes, they actually received $1 yesterday, which is more than I can say for their current deep state handlers.
That is true. So you've proven that you can do what you say you can do.
Yep.
But actually having, an agreement and, this is working. It's proof for those people, like, so-and-so is doing it. Like, I know that's a huge hurdle to kind of climb because, they promised that they weren't going to. And like you said, made oaths and things like that. But once the first group does it, I kind of feel like that's the domino, right?
Yep.
It's like, you
Yeah.
know? So,
You do what you say. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. You know? I mean, are we prepared to go it alone? You know, we are. Like I said, it would get really bumpy. It's going to get bumpy. You got to think of things like Social Security. You got to think of all that. You got to think about essentials, how long the rollout takes. You know, I mean, we don't want to cause mass mayhem for the people.
right.
You know, so you have to fire a warning shot. We're coming. CARE is here. We are an international organization with a lot of money. We are a sovereign entity unto ourselves, you know, and everyone will know our name by the end of the week. And they can't hide it anymore, and they can't take it anymore. You know? So, yeah, hopefully they'll all be watching UNN soon so they can actually get real news. You know,
I mean, I really wish they would, because it would move this whole process along faster.
I know.
Come on, guys. Share it with, I say this after every newscast, share it with your friends and family.
Well, you got to be
Share
careful
it
with
with your other deep
yeah,
state
even your
friends.
non-friends and family people.
That's true. I should start saying share UNN with your friends and family and other deep state members.
Other deep state, yeah, and your other deep state members and your agencies.
And agencies. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, they watch it in real time, you know, as we're recording it, probably from my computer. I'm sure they don't wait for it actually to come out on UNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they do. I know.
Well, we know they do because they interfere all the time. All the time.
I know, but we're such nice people.
I know. They just don't know us. You got to get to know us a little bit, guys. Come on.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we're just tricky.
We got to play by the rules. We do have rules. We say what we mean, unlike
Yep.
the other people you guys are listening to right now. You know,
That's
and we
right.
mean business.
Right.
And like you said, sooner than later, let's get this party started. That's another good song. Next time, play Pink.
Oh,
Let's
right.
get the party started.
You know, I will towards the end of the timeline. I'll
Okay,
start
good.
playing that. Yeah, I'll go with that one. But today they had to, like, you know,
Yeah.
we had to play peekaboo and whatnot. And
Child's games. That's what it is. For
Yeah.
children, because that's
well,
kind
they're
of what we're
playing,
dealing
so
with
I
right
thought
now.
I would play too. I mean, I don't know if they're having it fun. So they all have a respective list of things to do, places to go, possible hacking techniques. And so I just looked, and most of them involve some portal somewhere. So I just said, you know what? I just need to tidy up. And now I'm just going to spend the rest of the afternoon, I don't know, working, but I'll be working on our stuff, not theirs. And so
Yeah.
let her rip.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
I would even call it full phase one. By the time all the countries have CARES, that'll be phase one. And then we'll start with phase 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and continue on, you know, alone or with liaisons.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Sounds
We've
good.
stayed alive this long. We've made it this long,
We have.
you know? So, yeah. And that's the World Situation Report for Wednesday, June 7th.
Okay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sunny.
That wraps up our news update for Wednesday, June 7th. Please share UNN with your friends and family and your deep state coworkers. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so